two.
One.
All right, we're live. What's up, everyone? This is Sunny from the Sunny Ray Show. We're sponsored by Raz Rocket. Check us out. We help entrepreneurs fundraise in autopilot mode. Our Today I'm joined by Parag. Parag is co-founder and CEO of universitytech.io. They make discovery for matchmaking between industry and university for innovative solutions, right? So they essentially connect the dots between industry and university. Really excited to have you here today. Parag, how you doing?
Yeah. All good. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, nice meeting you,
Awesome. So
Sunny.
where in the world are you calling in from today?
Yeah, I'm in Mumbai.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I had a chance to live there actually a couple years ago. I really liked it. So Parag, I guess kick us off. I know, like I said, as I was mentioning to you on our prior call, I spent about 8 years working with universities, kind of along that same, you could say, overall mission of trying to, connect the dots between education and innovation and industry and so I'm really interested to dive into, what you guys do at University Tech and talking about that. But before we do you want to maybe share a little bit about your backstory, like what your worldview was before you even discovered AI and all this craziness that's going on now in the world?
Yeah, sure. So, of course, my work experience sort of predates AI, right? At least the AI that we know of today, which is the buzz with all the large language models. So, I started my career in Scotland, with my university in tech transfer at University of Strathclyde. Before that, I was brought up in Singapore, did my schooling there up to my O levels, and then 2 years in India in boarding school. And then I did my marketing and economics in Scotland as an undergrad. And my university had a reputation, as a research university. It was very good at commercializing its IP. It was a very professional and effective tech transfer office. And one of the first things I got as a job was right out of business school as a consultant to my tech transfer office, helping academics with their business plans, with their market research, with their business development. And that was my first window into, tech transfer, which is what I'm doing now, 20 years later. But a lot of what I was doing was in healthcare. And so when I moved back to India, then I built my career in digital health, med tech. And this company I started 2 years ago. So it's like a full circle moment for me getting back into technology transfer.
Have you read The Alchemist? Just curious.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, right. In
Yeah.
fact, just earlier this morning, I was thinking how, yeah, the world works that way, right? In fact,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you, but I have two offices in Bangalore, and so I started India's first Bitcoin exchange many years ago.
Oh,
It's
nice.
still around. We just had our 13-year anniversary.
Uh-huh.
But it's ironic because my parents, started their life in India, moved to Canada, had us, and then I somehow found my way back to India, right? So things have
Yeah.
a way of coming full circle. So tell me, so I guess in terms of, I guess AI, right? Because that I assume is going to be a big part of what we talk about later on in terms of the company and how you're integrating it. But curious how you came across this tech and did you have like an aha moment, a skies parting moment where you were like, wow, this is really going to change the world?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been interested in innovation. And, this time when the AI tools came out with ChatGPT, it felt very different. And the aha moment was like, this was the first time I felt like, oh, I got to upskill and reskill myself. And I did a course, on prompt engineering, and I told my family also about it. That look, I've been doing healthcare like for 20 years, working startups, and as a marketing business development person, you often think that it's a very general purpose domain of management or marketing. You don't have to upgrade yourself. But this time, when I saw the technology, I thought I had to learn more about it, and become a builder, become a a creative person, and experiment. Otherwise, I would be left behind. And true enough, if you see what's happened in the last few years, whether you look at the adoption rate or just how AI is now affecting all of our lives, uh, it's very true that if you use AI and learn how to use AI, you will be okay. But if you don't, then yeah, there are a lot of things that will happen in terms of disruption. So that was my aha moment when I just saw how fundamentally different, the responses were from ChatGPT. Like it was not like any other chatbot that I'd experienced. I mean, there was a company, if just for reference, like an Indian company called Haptic, right, which was acquired by Geo, a few years ago. Because they were one of India's first early chatbots, and they were claiming to use AI, and they're trying to do, but a lot of it was, decision rules and logic. And but with the advent of ChatGPT and large language models, you knew that it was fundamentally very different from what came before it. So that was my aha moment. And I had to build something in it. I didn't know what, but I started learning and I started experimenting. And of course, when the idea to start a company around tech transfer came, then naturally, whatever I've built so far, like would not have been possible without AI. Like I would need a team of 10, 20 PhDs in my team, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding, to get to where we are today. If this was in the pre-AI era, but with AI, I've been able to build and accelerate more cost effectively. And of course, without having the technical knowledge of being a scientist or an engineer myself, still be able to operate, have the audacity to operate in the technology transfer space. Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It's very empowering, right? Because, another anecdote I can give you, like when people come across our company and product, like I was at an exhibition recently. Firstly, country of origin, they're very proud that, from India, we're building a product company for global markets, which is very rare, right? From India. So we suffer from that perception. And I think, although we're operating in a niche area, I'm very proud to be part of a cohort of companies that is product led rather than services led. The other very powerful thing is, people come and look at what we've built and they're like, oh, you must have a 30, 50 member team, right? Uh, so a lot of people still don't understand, the cost of technology development has come down significantly. AI has been really empowering in that respect as well. So
So,
by the way, disclaimer, I don't have a 30 to 50 member team. Yeah, just to put that into context. Yeah.
how big is your team?
Yeah, let's just say we're less than 5 people. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. I love stories like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, just what's possible today just seems I don't know. I wake up every morning feeling like Superman, like or
Yeah.
maybe Iron Man might be a better analogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say sorry about that. Yeah, so in terms of just can we just linger on the AI topic for a few minutes? There's all this like talk now and fear around, oh, it's gonna lead to massive job loss. And I
Yeah.
guess in that statement around, oh, you can now do things with less number of people, it does imply a little bit of that, but I also see another side of the coin where it just empowers people to be entrepreneurs now, like where it wasn't even possible. But how do you kind of, I don't know, wrestle with that those kind of opposing ideas that are, so prevalent today, right? Elon Musk, everybody's talking about job
Yeah.
loss. Like, is that something you worry about, or do you see it, like you said, as more as like an empowering factor? And what do you suggest to those who feel disempowered, right? Because a lot of people nowadays, most people aren't like, oh, I'm so excited about AI. Most people are like, oh, dude, like be
Yeah.
careful, or who knows, it's gonna kill us all. And the truth is there is like this non-zero chance where it might end up horribly as well, right? So, but do you think much about that stuff? Are you more just heads down building or?
No, no. So I do listen to a lot of these podcasts, and of course, like Peter Diamandis, Elon Musk, and it just informs my worldview. And in terms of more locally, what's happening in India, like I still see job postings today, which says you need to be from a premier institute, MBA preferred. And I look at that, I'm like, you're tone deaf, like you've completely lost the plot, right? I mean, everybody's now cutting jobs, right? Even if you see TCS, all the major, what used to be like a safe career path in India is no longer true. And that's happened in the last 1 year. It really accelerated. And people are still not getting it. So I worry more about structural factors like, country by country. So if a country has not built an entrepreneurial culture, I mean, you can talk about startup India. It's been very successful in the last 10 years, but who has it benefited, right? It's only been mainly from, if you come from a premier institute, you know how to speak English. So the VCs have always favored those. I mean, now they're trying to diversify, getting to smaller cities, but if your country has an entrepreneurial culture and that mindset, then no matter what technology comes your way in terms of the, like now is the AI wave, and then next you'll have like quantum and so on. You will always be fine, right? Because people will figure out a way of building and fending for themselves, and the gig economy will take care of itself. But places where you are dependent on a very stable career path where you've graduated and you are expected. So I worry a lot about the Eastern cultures, like Far East. Like if you look at Japan, Korea, and all of these places where they're technically very advanced, but if you look at again, a lot of them are spending 20, 30 years in the same company. So yeah, I guess I'm not in any position to comment at the macro level, but this is what I observe, right, from And I think India is trying to do the right thing, but there are still thousands and thousands of colleges where the expectation is, you go get an engineering degree, and then you'll be fine. But unfortunately, we know that's not true. And the skills is not there, right? They're not able to adjust in the real world.
Hmm. Anyways, yeah, no, to be frank, I don't actually think, I feel like I maybe don't think enough about that kind of stuff. Like, for safety and even people like Hinton, like they're on blast about how, this could obviously go horribly wrong. So, but just to put that aside, I mean, on a personal level, I built an app this morning, while in the bathroom. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
you have like an idea and it comes to life, within minutes or whatever, and it's just to me, it's so empowering. I mean, I think this trends more towards probably just like a decentralization of more entrepreneurs, where you just have everyone's forced to kind of create and build. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, but let's dive into university tech. Let's talk about what's actually going on there. And I mean, I can't help but feel that like that's also at a very interesting place, right? Where if you can connect, because like I said, I spent 8 years selling robots essentially to universities, and I saw, even if you look at the AI revolution, right? University of Toronto, which is
yes,
where I went to university, like that's where a lot of these ideas were birthed from. So if you're
yeah,
able to unlock or create a bridge that, enables humanity to benefit from all of the beautiful innovation that's going on in the universities, wow. Like so talk to me about this idea. Like what are you
yeah,
guys doing different or unique from like maybe others in the market? And yeah, take
yeah.
us through that. And what's your mission there?
Yeah, so I think just to set context for your listeners, also those who are not already aware, right? Like a lot of research that happens in universities is very long term, very original because they don't have commercial pressures from the get go. Like typically, a lot of funding in universities comes from the government, and you got the example in the U.S., Canada, developed markets, even in India, right? Like so, they don't have the pressure necessarily to immediately start looking at application areas. They can do a lot of fundamental research, a lot of deep tech, long term research where the gap really is, and this differs again country to country, is once your research is ready to be commercialized or it's reached a certain level where you can bring it to industry and it's out of the confidential stage, the marketing is very inconsistent, or I mean, in very simple terms, there are no best practices, there's no standardization. And I come from a marketing background, so my instinct firstly is just, okay, how can we first solve in this entire tech transfer, spectrum of translational research, getting research into industry, what are the broken pieces? So the immediate thing I looked at was marketing, right? Like very basic things. If you have something to sell, you put it up on your website. You'll explain in terms of communication what it does and so on. But a lot of those things were missing, right? So University Tech started off with that premise. We actually launched actually as a media platform. We started off as a blog. We were using AI, but in a very minimal way. But the idea was just to put the concept out there. Like if we could standardize the way university IP was marketed, if we could simplify the way the technology was communicated, the benefits and so on, would that make industry more interested than not? And we proved that thesis, and especially with the medium-sized companies, where that's the segment that we're going after. Because a lot of the small to medium-sized businesses don't even realize that there's an opportunity, there's an asset class that they can exploit. The next generation of family businesses, the ones that are supposed to be taking over, they're not interested in taking over. So for a lot of them, if we can bring IP that is ready to license, that can become the spark. They don't have to reinvent their R&D. They don't have to, uh, build everything from scratch. They can in-license technologies related to their family business and then grow their own business. So there's a lot of huge untapped opportunity on the buy side, especially with the small to medium-sized businesses. And so this is essentially what we're solving. First, fix the marketing and the aggregation, bring all of that information in one place, and then bring industry which typically does not, the segment of the industry which does not look at IP for licensing, bring these two groups together and make the user experience and the interface so seamless that the matchmaking happens instantly.
Can you give an example of
Yeah, so we've already have had some successful case studies just in a very few months of going live. So, for example, there was a nutraceuticals market leader in India in a particular formulation in the vitamin E space. And they came to us and they actually found a technology in Malaysia, which is plant-based formulation for knee pain, osteoarthritis. And it was very quick. Like they shortlisted two technologies. We got them on a call with the academics, and now they're in the final stage of negotiating a deal. We also worked with large companies, in the wastewater treatment space. Uh, Typically, larger companies, what they do is they run open innovation challenges and they only focus on startups. You can see there's been a lot of buzz in India around startups. It's 10-year anniversary of the Startup India. But startups, like I said, relative to universities, typically don't have the deep domain expertise. So when they ran out of options, they came to our platform and they shortlisted about 24 technologies from 4 countries. We helped them facilitate, connections with the academics, and then finally they chose one, right, to go ahead with their project. So we believe there's a lot more, opportunity. These are just some examples. If we have critical mass of sellers and buyers on the same common platform, specifically around IP that does not really get its light of the day and visibility, then I think we can really make a difference here.
This is a really remarkable idea. So can you kind of walk through so what like so okay, actually no before that I have another question. So it sounds like you're bridging the gap between existing companies, you said small to medium sized ones, and like kind of this IP, right, that's sitting dormant in all these universities. Does it also apply to, let's say, you're an entrepreneur and you've built 3 businesses in the past, but
Yeah.
now you're
Yeah.
interested in a new business and you want to exploit
Yes.
some sort. So is that another angle to
Yes,
it?
absolutely. You're right. So, a segment of this is also mid-career professionals who've had, a lot of corporate experience or, working in under as an employee, and now they want to start something of their own. So the same principle applies, right? There's a lot of funding now available for deep tech. So if you, let's say, come from the pharma background, right, and you've, worked your way up the pharma company, you understand how the pharma industry works, how the biotech industry works. Now you want to start something of your own. Now, instead of again reinventing the wheel, hiring PhD scientists, setting up a lab, your starting point is a POC or a proof of concept and the product market fit. You can just in-license a technology, and an open secret maybe, or a lot of this IP is not really that expensive, right? Because universities are not in the business to maximize their commercial return. They're just looking at covering their costs, the research costs with some margin. A lot of the government funded labs are not even looking to cover, any margin. So they're just like, okay, how many hours did our scientists spend on this technology? And then we'll just calculate that. So the real issue is not really around the cost of the technology transfer, that you can really get it at a affordable price. A lot of them are even just giving it for free upfront, and then you pay a royalty only when you're successful. The key question really is about awareness that this opportunity exists, and then how do we handhold them through that transaction, and give them the confidence to take that risk of getting started.
And is there also like financing kind of element where, okay, you have a
Yes.
guy that worked at the pharmaceuticals for 10 years, he finds
Yeah.
some sort of interesting idea to build upon and he needs $250,000 to go and build out the prototype or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Like, so is that part of
Yeah.
the infrastructure as well or vision?
Yeah, so again, we'll not do everything on in-house, right? So we partner with deep tech investors. We partner with social impact funds that are looking to back entrepreneurs with bold ideas. And see, a lot of early stage investment in it is anyway, you're a serial entrepreneur, you understand a lot of the investment is in the team, right? And the next thing they look at is your IP, right? What are you building? So essentially, if you have early stage IP and somebody with strong domain expertise and a track record as a in business, uh, then funding is not the issue, right? I think it's just about opportunities. We need to have more matchmaking done between these two segments, and the funding is going to come, right? Yeah.
Interesting. And where are you guys in terms of your journey now? Like what are the next steps? Like what are you hoping to accomplish this year?
Yep. So our MVP has been live for a few months on an invite-only basis. This month we opened it up. We have now signed up with LinkedIn. Anybody can come up, and now we're talking to channel partners, right? Because again, being a niche industry, we need partners on the ground, or trusted channel partners that already have a relationship. So we're talking to trade bodies, we're talking to banks, we're talking to government institutions. So they've expressed a lot of interest because the heavy lifting has been done, right? The platform is ready. We've shown some success stories. And now this is time to just press the accelerator, right, and scale this up. And our go to market is essentially through channel partners to begin with. Once our brand is built, and there's more of case studies to talk about, and once there's more capacity building and awareness in the industry, I think a lot of people will then just sign up on their own as well to our platform.
And then, Parag, you said you started your career where again? Was that like an arm of the university that was helping companies commercialize? Because I mean, from my understanding, there are departments, right, that do that. Is there an idea to integrate with them in some way?
Yeah, so every good research university has a tech transfer office, right? It's called by different names. So essentially, my first job was to work as a consultant. They had a program where business school graduates from the same university could apply, and I did, and I got the opportunity to work with them. Yeah, but it's all professionally run. They have their own in-house teams, but they would because they had a portfolio of more than 100 plus technologies. Their in-house team could not, handle all of the IP, right? So they came up with this idea that maybe we can get our own business school grads to pick up the work, and and also gain valuable experience. And I also got an opportunity then to work with the European Union through the same program, right, on policy and helping bring in more best practices around tech transfer.
But with
Yeah.
university tech, are you guys exploring an angle to kind of work with those offices around the world, or are they kind of like parallel initiatives that you see them not competitive, but like they're just like, part of the infra? Like, I mean, I'm just curious, like, is there a plan to, like I said, hey, you can white label our service, or you can feed into our API, or some sort of like partnership angle where
Yeah,
they're now being able to do what they do already
correct.
better?
Correct. Yeah. So we're starting to get interest, but not from universities. Actually, we're getting interest from government, right? Because a lot of them
Interesting.
who are trying to set up innovation units or innovation initiatives, rather than again build something from scratch, we are saying, look, we already have a best-in-class platform for discovery and matchmaking and tech transfer. Why reinvent the wheel? But universities are just notoriously slow to, even if you're offering your service for free, it's very tough to, engage with them. And so we don't depend our business model on working with universities at the moment. But to your point, right, I think we still want to engage with them very closely because we're sitting on now on a lot of data, right? And the idea is that once we start seeing trends, like, so I'll give you a small example, right? So a lot of the universities in the US are not mentioning their technology readiness level, although that concept sort of emerged from there with the NASA, it's NASA's framework. And if you see on the industry side, so they're maybe mentioning the stage of the development, but they're not explicitly mentioning what TRL level the technology is at, which is technology readiness level. And that's a very important metric for industry. So what our AI is doing is we're able to pick up, from their abstract, and we infer and pick up the evidence, and then assign a TRL based on our understanding of their abstract. So we are filling in the gaps, right, in the marketing wherever we see them. So there's this big opportunity again to then go back to them after a while and say, look, compared to your peers, these are the gaps we found, right? Maybe if you improve your initial, marketing, then we don't have to put our AI to guess, right? And we don't have a second guess. But right now we're having to do that out of compulsion, just to standardize the information layer on the front end.
Fascinating. Cool. So Parag, I mean, I would love to, do maybe a follow-up if you're up for it, because I just feel like
Yeah,
we're scratching the surface, and like I said, this is a problem that's near and dear to my heart, and I feel like, and just the fact that LLMs exist, if you're leveraging that tech alone
yeah,
towards IP, I could see a ton of value there because there's so much data. But then secondly, I imagine a lot of the reason why we don't have more innovation in the world is because you can't understand what's happening behind these, patents. But now with LLMs, you can be like, explain it like I'm five or
yes,
whatever, and you can
exactly.
connect people that have the drive, the courage, the capital to go and build stuff, and they can actually like get their head around these ideas. So exciting times. Why don't you maybe just finish up by telling everyone the domain one more time, maybe where they can find you if you have Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever
Yeah.
you prefer in terms of yeah, if you have a blog or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. So if you just type in universitytech.io, you'll find our page, you'll find me on it. And that's our domain. It's very simple, very easy to remember, universitytech.io. Please do sign up, give us your feedback, and happy to partner and grow this. Yeah, I think we are starting already live with about 4 countries. We're adding more. In fact, Canada will be up next. And yeah, I've heard about University of Toronto quite a bit, right? In terms of the
I
overall
have
scale.
access to the tech transfer office. I recently worked with them on some stuff. We were trying to
Yeah, yeah,
commercialize. So cool. I'd love to make a connect if that helps. And also,
absolutely.
like I said, I used to work for this company called Quanzer. They've been around for now, I guess, almost 30
Yeah,
years, and they sell mechatronic real-time control systems
yeah,
to maybe 3,000 universities around the world, all the top ones. In fact, that while I was working there, I was selling to IIT and NIT and all these guys. Um, and so I don't know. I wonder if there might be some sort of collaborative opportunity there. But Parag, thank you so much for your time. Fascinating conversation. Really, really interesting mission and company. And yeah, and maybe we can have a follow-up some other day. Thank you for your time. Bring this one to an
thank
end.
you for
Yeah.
having me and all the best. Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
Cheers.